Welcome to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo. Given that today we'll be chatting with the pearl protectors Muditha Katuwawala on Sri Life Let's Talk and Yamuna Jayaratne from the port city Colombo, we thought it would be good to highlight our ports on Kaleidoscope today. Sri Lanka has four significant ports: Colombo, Trincomalee, Hambantota and Galle. The Hambantota port is the largest in the country but traces its history to around 250 BC when Chinese and Arab merchants used it as part of the maritime Silk Route. Also on our People's Bank News Capsule with Yamuna Jayaratne is woman entrepreneur Shantini Ahangama. And another entrepreneur on our show is Nick Nack's Nirukshi D. Lanarol on singer Life in 60. We begin our Kaleidoscope snapshot with the world's second best natural harbour on our backdrop, the Trincomalee Harbour. It has been the site of many a battle from the time of the Portuguese, the Dutch, and then the French and the English, and even the Imperial Japanese Navy, who in fact even sank 3 British warships that were anchored there. The big news this week: Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th President of the United States of America, as was its first female Vice President, Kamala Harris. Sri Lanka's FDI increased to $550 million from January to November last year. Sri Lanka ended 2020 with a December record of the highest ever worker remittances of $813 million. The Sri Lankan rupee depreciated by 6% in the last 6 months. Sri Life has been named Best Life Insurer in Sri Lanka in 2020 for a record 7th year. Emirates and Singapore Airlines are among the first airlines to vaccinate their crew. Despite COVID, China's GDP grew 2.3% to top 100 trillion yuan in 2020. And Microsoft is investing $2 billion in GM's self-driving car company, Cruise. It was known as the port of Kolomtota during the 14th century Kotte Kingdom and is the most important terminal in Asia. The Colombo port is now one of the busiest ports in the world, as it was more than 2,000 years ago when the Arab, Roman and Chinese traders used it. Subsequently, the Portuguese made a pact with King Paramagbahu to trade cinnamon, and of course, the rest is history. So with that in the background, we begin our People's Bank News Capsule today with a look at the port city. There was renewed excitement in the port city last week when British-born financier and heir apparent to the title of Baron Rothschild paid a visit to the port city. The port city, built on reclaimed land, is expecting to draw investors to the tune of about $15 billion. With Nathaniel Rothschild having put the spotlight on the port city Colombo, I asked Director Sales and Marketing Yamuna Jayaratne what will actually attract high-ticket investors to the port city and also the improvements that are necessary to sustain their interest.
We've got excellent first world infrastructure available within port city, and one of the pain points that you may experience in rest of Colombo will be addressed through the special economic zone that would be within port city, where you will have first world administrative efficiencies. In addition to that, we also already enjoy a very attractive tax regime compared to the South Asian region. This would be further enhanced within port city. So for business, first world infrastructure within port city, first world administrative efficiencies, as well as a very attractive, globally competitive price point in terms of incentives. In addition to that, we are positioned in a maritime superhighway. We connect the east and the west strategically, so we've literally hit the geographical jackpot. That's an advantage we've already had historically. But we do need to focus on and invest long-term on education that's building a workforce that can cater to the international companies that we're hoping to attract. That is a must. Also, infrastructure, continued investment in infrastructure is a must.
Bloomberg listed the CSE as the best performing primary index with 17% YTD returns so far. At close of market on Thursday, for the first time in Sri Lanka's history, the all share price index exceeded 8,000 points, closing at 8,131.25 points. The average daily turnover continued being robust at 10 billion rupees, while the indices went up by 5.2%. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation saved $300 million in foreign exchange in 2020 due to the drop in crude oil prices. Now at $52.91 US per barrel, WTI crude oil is relatively unchanged. While Sri Lanka is venturing into gold exploration to ascertain if the country has gold deposits, gold moved up to $1,870 US per ounce after US President Joe Biden signed a string of executive orders to jumpstart the government's response to the pandemic. Gold is considered a hedge against inflation that can result from stimulus measures. Park Street Mews restaurant, undeniably one of Colombo's coolest hangout spots, celebrated its 12th anniversary this week, recognizing a team that owner Harpo Gunaratne called the backbone of his business. In our spotlight on entrepreneurs, today we feature founder and CEO of Coconut Miracle, Shantini Ahangama, who saw immense potential in the humble coconut and made it her business to create some miracles from it.
My light bulb moment was when I identified a trade opportunity between the UK and Sri Lanka, and Coconut Miracle Organics was born in March 2010. Our goal is to bring you the finest quality organically grown coconut products with the powerful message of health and wellness.
If you're into playing cards, well, listen up. Your king has been dethroned. He will no longer be worth more than a queen. A Dutch psychology graduate broke the centuries-old tradition of sexual inequality in card decks, designing a genderless deck where the king, queen and jack are replaced with gold bars, silver coins and bronze shields. If you feel you need a little more protein in your diet, well, here's an option. The EU is serving up yellow grub in its pasta, the first insect to be approved in the region as human food. Yellow grubs, which are rich in protein, fat and fiber, will be used whole or dried in curries or as a flour to make biscuits, pasta and bread. And on the other side of the globe, Thailand, the first Southeast Asian country to legalize cannabis for medical use, is serving up happy pork soup, deep-fried bread topped with pork and marijuana leaves, and a crispy pork and vegetable salad with, you guessed right, cannabis leaves. And we'll be back with Mudita Katwawala on Selinko Life. Let's talk.
With Selinko Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for a retirement today. Selinko Life, a relationship for life.
%80 of the seabed in the western province of Sri Lanka is polluted, and 50% of the sea surrounding us is polluted. And another fact, only 10% of marine pollution floats. 90% remains on the seabed. The biggest polluter right now? Plastic. Every year, 8.3 million tons of plastic waste enters the ocean, which means 5.2 trillion pieces of plastic are in the seas. And by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the sea. The Sri Lankan government tried unsuccessfully to ban single-use plastic, and today Sri Lanka has the dubious title of being among the world's top 20 ocean polluters. In 2018, a group of committed young volunteers decided to embark on a mission to sustainably protect the marine environment of Sri Lanka. Hoping to eradicate human impact on marine diversity, the Pearl Protectors implements projects based on the level of impact, promoting eco-friendly behavior and safeguarding marine habitat. Coordinator of the Pearl Protectors, Mudita Katwawala, joins us on Selinko Life. Let's talk on his mission to save our seas. This is a question we all should know the answer to, but let's articulate it. What are the threats that our oceans are facing?
Few of them are, of course, the climate change. Because of that, the oceans are getting acidified more faster. Then, of course, we have other threats such as pollution, which is coming in from canals and rivers. These pollutions can be chemicals, and then it could go to plastic pollution, which is one of the biggest pollutants that are out there right now. But other than that, we have a lot of other pollution as well, which is light pollution, we have sound pollution, we have pollution coming in from other ocean vessels that are out there. Then of course the biggest threat is also fishing, unethical, unregulated fishing, and our fish numbers are depleting as we speak because of these practices.
One of the most recent emerging threats is pandemic pollution, which everything ends up in the sea basically. How are we going to tackle this?
The pandemic waste, mostly disposable face masks and also gloves are being emitted out into the environment at a faster pace. We are seeing per minute, there is a research done recently saying that there is about 2 to 3 million gloves and disposable face masks being put into the environment in 1 minute. So these are big numbers. Per month it's about 1.6 billion masks that are being put out. So the simple thing you can do is collect, once you've used your mask, collect it, keep it with you and give it to a hospital, because these are medical waste. So there is facilities at hospitals, there is facilities at medical centers where they collect medical waste and they dispose it in a responsible manner, whereas if you just throw it out, there is no way to recycle it, there is no way, and there is no person who will collect it, so it always will end up like in the ocean or in garbage dumps or going into wildlife. So the best thing you can do is collect it, keep it and hand it over to a medical waste segregated place.
So how do these threats actually impact islands like ours?
When an ocean gets unhealthy because of all this pollution and all these threats, the number of fish starts depleting, the reef starts going away. So now as we know, Sri Lanka has lost almost 95% of our corals. So what will happen is our tourism is going to be impacted, which is a big income generation for our economy, and also we will start losing on our fisheries, where we do export fish to other countries, but when we start depleting our fisheries, it's going to impact the country as well.
For a regular citizen, what are the immediate practical steps we can take in our own way to reduce marine pollution?
The best thing anyone can do is reduce and refuse the use of single-use plastic. Single-use plastic is the most biggest threat globally to our oceans, and what single-use plastic does is we use it for a shorter time, but they can be in the environment for longer periods of time. Likewise, plastic straws, plastic bags, then of course you get like sachets. So these are things you can actually reduce, and even refuse. So next time you go to buy your groceries, when you're given a plastic bag, you can simply say, no, I don't want one. You can take your own bag. If you're going out, don't tend to buy plastic bottles, take your own bottle. So simple habitual changes like these will actually have a larger impact in protecting our oceans.
According to a survey done by NARA, the island's fish stock has depleted drastically by about 80%, partly due to the high levels of microplastic contamination and overfishing. While young people like the pearl protectors are fighting to reduce marine pollution, what are we doing? Like Mudita said, start small. Say no to single-use plastic, dispose of your pandemic waste responsibly, and you will make a difference. Thank you, Mudita, for joining us on Sri Life Let's Talk and for showing us that it's sink or swim when it comes to our oceans.
With Sri Life Pension Saver, Sri Lanka's premier retirement plan, start planning for your retirement today. Sri Life, a relationship for life.
We'll be back with some knick-knack news that's on Singer Life in 60. While the Galle harbour is recognized as one of the world's best for yachting, this harbour was used even in pre-Christian times, long before yachting became fashionable, and with the Dutch landing in Galle gained prominence from the 14th century onwards. Now, have you seen my ears today? They are from Knick-Knack, founded by a woman entrepreneur who put her heart and soul into making our ears have that added glam and bling. Here's Knick-Knack's owner, Nirukshidi Lanarol, on Singer Life in 60.
Alone you give us a chance if you mind? And I deserve it, please, one last time.
For the past 45 years, I have been employed. I took a risk and invested part of my retirement savings into knick-knack. We want to keep sourcing from here and abroad and maybe have a small place of our own where we create statement pieces here in Sri Lanka. I am happy to say that I found my passion and retirement plan at the nick of time.
That's how you feel. You went so far away. You should give us a chance, please be kind. I need to see you just.
There you go, earrings hanging pretty from knick-knack. Thank you Nirikshi for joining us on Singer Life in 60. We'd love to hear from you. Send in your comments and suggestions to kaleidoscopeweekly1@gmail.com and also click on the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Kaleidoscope with Savithri Rodrigo, and press the bell icon to remain updated. As we leave you this week, we are seeing increasing incidences of the pandemic around us. Be careful. Do wash your hands. This Amami hand wash, which comes in industrial size gallons as well as these two sizes, would be ideal for that. Wear your mask and avoid being in crowded places. We'll be back next Friday. With the US in the news this week, our Kaleidoscope takeaway comes from President Bill Clinton. We know that when we protect our oceans, we protect our future.